Hi, I'm Justin Johnson, G0KSC of Waters and Stanton. To my right is Mike Mertel, K7IR, founder and developer of the SteppIR. And to my left here is Don Field, G3XTT of Practical Wireless Magazine. We have these two guys here with us this week, Mike for some training on the SteppIR range of antennas for our sales guys and our support guys. As Waters and Stanton are now providing the SteppIR antennas or SteppIR antennas in Europe. And Don has come along today to ask a few questions and get a feel for SteppIR and how the company was founded, set up, and what it's been doing and how it's got to where it is today. And we thought it would be a good idea to give some of the highlights of what we've been discussing and what we found out about SteppIR in a short online interview. So Don, when now you've had a chance to speak with Mike, what are the highlights so far, do you think, about the SteppIR and maybe the facts that were the most eyebrow raising, which you didn't know beforehand?
Well, it's been quite interesting, Justin, because I've been using a SteppIR for about 5 years, but I first saw them at Visalia in the States when Mike first launched them. It must be best part of 15 years ago. Yeah. And I have to say, I had a look at them then and saw all the mechanical workings of it, the SteppIR motor and the elements winding in and out, and thought that'll never work. And having been a user for 5 years, I find it does work. But it's very interesting listening to Mike and all the history of it and how he's had to make a number of design improvements over the years just to make sure everything is totally reliable and so on. And it does sound as though he's done some pretty good stuff over the years, but it's absolutely fascinating how it's all developed.
Right, yeah. So, Mike, what do you think the biggest challenges have been? Because obviously there are a number of different environments geographically as well as regional from a support perspective and also from the weather that we have in different places. Has that been a learning curve for you, do you think? Because obviously it's a very well-honed product for all environments now.
It was a huge challenge. When we first started this company, we called this antenna jokingly the drag-a-yag. We naively thought, well, people will take this to their summer home because it's quick to set up with the telescoping poles. Yeah. And so we thought, yeah, that's what they'll do with it. Immediately, they're putting on 100-foot towers. And we go, uh-oh. So it's been an evolution of, there's a harsh environment up there. I mean, they've been all over the world. In fact, we tried to give one to our own U.S. people in Antarctica. Oh, no, we only look at that every 2 years. So the Russians got wind of it, a small community down there. We'll take it. And so we did. It was at Bellinghausen. There was R1 ANF, I think, and they loved it. But it was a great testing ground. They called me up and they go, we've had 85-mile-an-hour winds for 2 weeks, and your little element things are starting to break. And we go, uh-oh. So that was a great test ground because we realized the way they were bending things, there wasn't enough radius. And so I would never build something that went on a 100-foot tower again. But it can be done. Mm-hmm. And at the onset, you have all these worries about, okay, how much ice will get on the element? Will water get in the element? What will happen? And I'm actually amazed that it wasn't even more difficult. The elements always seem to drain what condensation there is out. And over the years, we've in turn taken each problem and found a way out of it. So these are now probably the best antennas we've ever made now, after 13, 14 years of it.
Well, that's an interesting fact, actually, because one of the things, I know you're a SteppIR user, Don, and I think you were a little skeptical at first. Yes. About the reliability, as you just said. And having used one for how long now?
About 5 years, and it was second-hand when I got it, so it's sort of 7 or 8 years old now.
And because this is one of the questions that people raise about the moving parts is, in particular, the brushes and how they're going to survive. And Mike, you were mentioning that after even 120,000 full in out and full outs, there's still half the life at least.
At least, yeah. I mean, really, it was the external environment that was the problem. I mean, we went from poles that weighed probably about 1.75 pounds. They weigh 3.25 pounds now. Right, and they got stronger and stronger, and then we got them so strong, we started occasionally seeing EHU thing break. So then we made that stronger. I think we're finally there. The Americans started out going, well, I live in the Northeast. How does it do with ice? And we're going, I hope good. But the fiberglass turned out to be excellent. And I finally realized, wow, this is way better. And I'd say to somebody at the show, I go, there's a reason they don't make fishing poles out of aluminum. Because they go down and they don't come back.
Right,
So it turns out to be the fiberglass has some decided advantages strength-wise.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the SteppIR customers now are reaping the rewards of the development that's gone over 14 years, and some of the owners of maybe more recent antennas are having to be the beta testers for what is now a very well constructed and finished product. Now, Don, you said yours was second-hand when you've got it, and you've had it for a long time now. Is there any signs of any wear or degradation as such?
Not really. I've had some degradation of the rubber boots at the end of the elements, and I've been talking to Mike about that today. But that is one of the issues he had. It was a particular manufacturer who persuaded him that those were the ones to go for, and he tells me he sorted that. So that seems to be the kind of evolution that the company has gone through.
I immediately made it clear it's out of warranty, Don. But actually, that was a change where, you know, the price on one thing went up, and they go, oh, these EPDM ones are better, and they're missing rubber. They ended up being sued in a class action suit. So we've pretty much given anybody that has those free boots. So Don got some free boots out of today.
Fantastic. So you were saying about the fiberglass, and it's now heavier, and I know that you said yourself the EHU, or the center piece that holds the motor and the tape, has been through a number of redevelopments and honing, and where is that now? How many versions of that are we along the line of development?
The box itself?
Yeah.
The first box was made by what you call vacuum forming, where you vacuum suck the plastic when you heat it. So we really only went one change. We went straight to a box that's made of the same kind of plastic they use in the car bumpers. And it's just indestructible. And I actually was shocked how much stronger it was. We haven't had anything break since, unless a tree fell on it. So I think we're there. I can't imagine why you'd need it any stronger.
Right, yeah. Well, I think for me, one of the most striking or impressive features is not just the monoband type characteristics of the antenna pretty much everywhere, but it's the extremely fast ability for the antenna to switch directions. Go from, if you're pointing north-south, then you can just switch it in, what, 3 seconds? Is that right?
And it's band dependent on 40 meters, make it 4 seconds.
Right.
So, yeah.
And have you found benefit in that feature?
I found that an enormous benefit, actually, Justin, yes. As I was mentioning earlier, you can be beaming towards the States, but you have a multiplier. In a contest, for example, calls you off the rear of the antenna. You can switch very quickly. You're not having to wait 30 seconds for the rotator to swing it round. I also find the bidirectional properties quite useful. So one of the options with the SteppIR is to beam forward and back at the same time. So again, if it's a time of the day when both the States and the Far East are still open, you can be working both.
Right. So would you say there are life extension benefits to the rotator then, in that case?
Well, that's possibly
I never
true.
thought of that.
No
That's
idea.
You have my brochure.
Yeah, you should.
Save your rotator.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for now. I think there's some highlights to be seen, and the full extent of the interview and the information with regards to the benefits of SteppIR will be available for reading in Practical Wireless magazine in the future. But thank you, Don and Mike, for your time.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Yeah.